Alright, this lesson is 5-4, Solving Inequalities. And you'll find that when you solve an inequality, it's very similar to solving an equation. There'll be a little part to it later in the lesson that I'll tell you about that is different. But at the beginning here, I want to show you ones that we solve just like we would solve an equation. We want to isolate the variable x. So we want to undo the adding 5. So we'll subtract 5 from both sides. And it's done to both sides of that inequality, the greater than sign. Cross out our 5's, and we get x is greater than 7. So there is your solution. And with an inequality, the solution is a group of numbers, not just one single number will make this true. Any number that's greater than 7. So let's do a little check and just see. Let's pick a number greater than 7. Let's say 10. If we put 10 plus 5, we want to see if that's greater than 12. Well, 15 is greater than 12. So it checked. Now, I'm not going to require that you do the checks on the inequalities, but I wanted to just show you that it can check out. On number 2, we want to isolate the y, so we'll subtract 10 from both sides. And we have y is less than or equal to. Now here, 3 minus 10, we change that to 3 plus a negative 10. So we'll get negative 7. And sometimes they're going to ask you to graph it and sometimes not. So just read the directions to see. On number 3, the variable's on the other side. And so solve it the same way, but when we go to graph it, I am going to ask you to do a little extra step just to help you do your graphing correctly. So our 1 1/3 will cross out and we'll add here and we get 4 1/3. Our variable is isolated. And so we have 4 1/3 is greater than or equal to x. And there's your solution. Now, if it asks you to graph it, before you graph, I would like for you to flip-flop it so that the x is on the left-hand side. So you switch the two sides, and if you flip what's on each side, you need to flip the inequality so it will become greater than or equal to, since they switch sides. Do that, and that will hopefully ensure that you graph correctly. So let's put the two whole numbers that are on either side, approximate where the 4 1/3 would be, and then we can go ahead, we'll do a dot here, and now that we've switched it, since the variable's first, our inequality is going to point in the same direction that our arrow points, like the tip of your arrow. And so we shade it going to the right. If you don't flip it, then you may end up having your arrow go the wrong direction. So I would just, that's a little tip there I'd like you to do. Alright, let's try it again. Number 4, we want to undo adding 7, so we'll subtract 7 from both sides. We combine here 3 minus 7, so we'll make it 3 plus a negative 7, and we get negative 4 is greater than x. Okay, here's a similar situation. If you're asked to graph it, I would like for you to switch these. Now this is the solution, but if you're asked to graph, rewrite it, switch those around, and then you switch your inequality from greater than to less than, and then you're ready to graph it. So you'll have negative 5, negative 4, and negative 3. And this, because it's a less than, we're going to do a circle rather than a dot like we did up here because it was less than or equal to. This is not or equal to, so we have that empty circle. The dot, it's like a hole there, and then it's graphed to the left is your arrow. All right, at this point, we'll turn the page, but we're going to start on number 5 with, I want to get into where you multiply or divide to solve an inequality. So I'm going to stop the video here, and we'll pick up with part 2 in the second video.